What's up, everybody? Unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAQ, Japan's frequently asked questions. I apologize for the sound in the video today, which will not be that great because I don't have my regular camera or my regular microphone. I'm merely recording on a cell phone, so it's going to be kind of low quality today. Sorry. Anyway, I want to start with a pretty positive video today and talk about some positive JFAQ stuff because recently in the news, I know I've been covering some kind of dark stuff with racism and stuff in Japan. I want to go ahead and dive into people trying to work apprenticeships in Japan. It's something I'm written about a lot. People constantly send me emails about it and want to know more, and that's totally understandable because there's a lot of interesting apprenticeships to take on in Japan. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say apprenticeships, I guess let me explain. What I mean is traditional Japanese arts, which were started in Japan, are for the most part only done by Japanese people and taught by Japanese senpai or sensei and handed down through generation after generation. As the younger and younger generations decline in Japan and there's a lower and lower birth rate, sadly a lot of the elder generation are having trouble passing down a lot of these great traditions and a lot of their great arts. And let's be honest, Japan has a lot of amazing, amazing art. You know, everything from topiary arts to even making samurai swords. Yes, that's still done in Japan. No, of course, they're not used as actual weapons in any kind of battle, but it's the beauty in the art and the blacksmithing that goes behind it. I'm not sure what you would call it when you're banging out metal. Anyway, so I thought I'd just go over a few steps. I would first like to start out by saying, yes, you can actually come here and get an apprenticeship if you are willing and dedicated to not only Japanese traditions, arts, and language, but really pursuing a goal hardcore, because you need to be hardcore if you're really going to consider doing one of these things. And I'm talking things like anime and manga too. If you want to come here and train under a Japanese senpai, I guess senpai would be like your leader, your teacher. You know, it's almost the same thing as a senpai, but usually what it means is you're in the same career path, and that person who's already well known in that career path is helping you get your feet, your grounding. I want to go over a couple of things that you probably need to make sure you either master or come close to mastering before you even think about attempting to come here for an apprenticeship. And these are also just as kind of a heads up, you know, if you're serious, here's some steps that you can do to come over here to take on any kind of apprenticeship, okay? So let's get right into it. Number one, the foremost thing that needs to be done, know Japanese. Know and speak and be nearly fluent in Japanese, be able to read it, be able to write it. A lot of people are always really surprised when they hear this. I don't know why, but there's many, many people out there who have this mindset that Japan can speak English just like people in Europe can, where it's taught via immersion, and there's a large portion of the population in every country that can speak English either native level or very fluently. And that's just not the case. And to be quite honest, I would think if you went into any kind of apprenticeship in some European country too, you would probably need to know the language. But the feeling in Japan is that when this senpai or sensei is handing down their trade to you, it is like they are literally handing you a credit card or a large amount of cash or a bank account filled with money. They are handing down something to you that can earn a ton of money. They are handing down something to you that is an honored tradition. They're handing down something to you that is actually a part of their country. It's something that they've honored for a long time, and they want you to do that too. And if you can't even show them the respect of learning their language, then they don't think you're serious at all. A lot of people are very surprised when I tell them this. And honestly, from my perspective, having lived in Japan for 10 years, it's kind of like yappari, which means like, of course you'd have to learn Japanese to learn a Japanese trade, tradition, art, or anything that would culturally be born in this country and learned via handing down oral tradition. Of course. You know, Japan is a predominantly Japanese-speaking country because the national language is Japanese. If you can't get past that one small part, which I know some people are like, that's not a small part, Scott. It's learning an entire language. Well, 2,000 words learned in a language is considered by definition of college professors who teach language to be fluent. If you can't at least learn 2,000 words in the language before you come here, you're probably not serious about actually learning the trade. I'm just saying. Next up is be able to easily get in tune with Japanese culture, Japanese traditions, Japanese etiquette, and anything that would have to do with manners in Japanese. Of course, many of you know the most simple, basic aspects of, yeah, take your shoes off when you go inside a Japanese house. We know this. Anybody who knows the slightest bit about Japanese culture knows this. But I'm talking a little bit of everything. For example, you don't move a bowl with your chopsticks. That's super rude. You know, the first time you come into a house, you introduce yourself and ask if you can come into the house. You bring a small gift or a token of housewarming gift the very first time you ever come into anybody's house to show you're grateful for having to enter their house. You make sure you're always giving presents at the right time of the year. You know, you give small presents to say thank you. If someone's done you a favor, give small presents to say thank you. There's a lot of gift giving that goes on. If you go on a trip in Japan, even if it's into another part of Japan, you're supposed to bring back a small omiyage, which is like a souvenir, which usually tends to be a cookie or something like that. Get into the habit of knowing all these different traditional manners. You're going to get a little bit of slack because you are foreign, okay? But over time, the longer you stay here, the more and more Japanese people are going to expect you know this stuff. You're going to stay here, you're going to live here, you're going to, you know, enjoy the many traditions, culture, art, and benefits. And yes, there are many benefits of living in Japan. Then the least you could do is learn the manners that the country has, okay? On top of that, and I guess one that some people are like, Scott, this is no problem. I don't know why you would mention this, but be able to eat almost anything that is Japanese food. Of course, we have people who say that they're allergic to fish, they can't eat fish. There's people who tell me that they can't eat rice. There's people who say, you know, I like everything in Japan, but I hate wasabi. That's probably okay. Usually condiments are not a big deal. Or there's people who say, I like everything in Japan, but I don't like the eggplant dishes, or I don't like natto, which is fermented beans. I understand, but you need to gaman suru. That means push past it, fight through it, endure it. If you were ever offered a meal by your senpai or your sensei that was something you do not like, you better damn eat it, okay? I'm serious, like they've gone out of their way to invite you to dine with them. That's a huge honor, okay? On top of it, be ready for a lashing. And I don't mean like a physical lashing like your senpai or sensei beats you, okay? If that happens, then get out of the apprenticeship. That's not right in any country or anywhere. But be ready for some insanely harsh criticism. I have had two friends, one who went into an anime and manga apprenticeship and another one who went into a tattoo apprenticeship to learn traditional Japanese irezumi, which is the Japanese style tattoos. They both have epic stories of how rough their teachers were. Now, as soon as that apprenticeship finished and they proved themselves and they started to earn the company money, that totally went away. They were respected. They were treated as one of the part of the company, one of the people who contributed to the company, and not just one of the people leeching from the company. And hopefully you can reach that point too, but don't be surprised if you have to endure a bit of tough times, a bit of getting yelled at, and sometimes not even a bit. My friend who did tattoo apprenticeship and my friend who did anime and manga stuff had to draw and draw and draw and illustrate and illustrate and illustrate and do paintings and paintings and paintings, and to just show how much power and loyalty they wanted to have over the person that was taking the apprenticeship on. Usually a sensei or a senpai would actually rip apart one of the drawings that they did, even if it was like amazing. They would hand it in, they'd be like, draw this, illustrate this, show me what you can do. And the first couple that they would hand in, they'd rip it up right in front of them just to show, are you serious? I want you to show me you're serious. If you're serious, you know, you'll fight back the tears and come back to me and try this again and again and again. You know, they'll laugh you out of the park. They'll tell you you suck at it. They tell you they can't believe how garbage your work is. And then as you continue to push past that, that shows you are loyal. That shows you are enduring. That shows you will push past all the hardships that will come along with working that actual job, because they will be there and your senpai or your sensei knows that already. They're facing all the different things that you're going to face if you take on this job, and they want to make sure that you're ready for that too, the criticisms that will come with it. And if you are, then just maybe you can pass an apprenticeship and take on whatever your dream job is in Japan. I'm unrested rooting you on to do exactly that here on JFAQ, Japan's Frequently Asked Questions. Have a good one.